Hey cake friends, let's paint this Christmas buttercream poinsettia. It's so easy, you wouldn't believe that it's made of buttercream using this easy technique. I would call it paint by color. So you trace and then you paint with your colored buttercream, and let's just see it, okay? It's so easy, anyone can do this, and let's get started. To tell you a little bit more, we're using an image on an iPad, and then we trace with a colored buttercream. And once you're done tracing paint by color with your colored buttercream, and this is done on parchment paper, you are going to flip your parchment paper, and we're gonna place this buttercream, your painted buttercream, on your cold cake. And then press it lightly and cool it. And once you chill it already, the buttercream is transferred already on your cake, and you can peel off this parchment paper to reveal this buttercream, painted buttercream that you did, that you traced. So isn't it amazing that you could do this so easily? You just need to create different color buttercream and have parchment paper and your image ready, the one that you want to transfer. And here's the poinsettia. You can download the poinsettia in the link under in the description. And let's get started. To trace, I'm using this app called Trace Table, and it's make it easy to trace without the image moving all around. So you can open the app and then choose the light box, try now, upload an image, and choose from your photo library. Of course, you want to download the image, the poinsettia image first, and then choose that image and upload it onto your app, and there you go. And you can enlarge your image on as much as like the size that you'd like for your painting on your cake. So just depending on your cake size, you want to enlarge it depending on how big that you want it. And you want to prepare parchment paper. And I also like this mica sheet, transparent mica sheet, just to add kind of like a strength so that's easier to flip and then see what's my image underneath while I'm tracing the color, the image. And once you're happy with the size of your image, and then also you want to cut your tracing paper and your mica sheet as big as the image that you want. So here I just gonna focus on the center poinsettia flower. So I would like, okay, that's about how big. So I'm cutting my parchment paper and also mica sheet as big as that flower that I want. It's just make it easier. And once I cut the size that I want, then I tape it, and I also lock the on the app. There is like a lock one, so it won't move, the image won't move as you're doing your tracing. So it just make it so much easier. That's why we're using the app. To color your buttercream, I just used the gel food coloring, and you know, any kind of buttercream that you can use. And once I color my buttercream, I put it in the piping bag, disposable piping bag that's here. I cut up the big part of it just because I only use small amount of buttercream, so it just make it easier. And I tape my parchment paper and on my mica sheet, and then the mica sheet I just place it on the iPad. So whatever that you wanna put down first, the color is that the color that you want, it's gonna show first on your because we're gonna flip this image to transfer it on the cake, right? So for this flower example, if I put the pink color first and then I didn't put the yellow center first, when I flip it, it's not gonna show the yellow. So that's why I want to make sure the center is shown, right? So that's why I put the yellow first, and then that way when you have your mica sheet, like if you look at on the bottom, that you're gonna see the yellow. So, and then after that, I'm gonna put, my darker color. So use your image underneath as a guidance. So I'm putting like darker, and then like make sure it has a variation of color so that the painting will pop. So like darker pink, actually burgundy, darker pink, and then I have some medium pink as well. And you can put some very light pink as a contrast of color. And see, I flip it and to check to make sure my painting is okay. So you can always flip your mica to see, okay, how does my painting actually look when I'm flipping my image. And you can smooth it out a little bit just to make sure there is like no hole or anything. And I'm continually flipping it back and forth to see how does it look when it's transferred on a cake. And then once I'm done with my flower, I continue with the green color for the leaf. So I'm using like avocado green, and then mix it with the very light avocado in between, and continue flipping it just to see how it looks. I'm really speeding up the video right now, but pretty much you're doing tracing with color, right? So you use your buttercream as your paint, and I put the berry and also the leaf. Here I'm using kind of like a very wintry teal blue-green leaf, and I use my piping bag and to pipe the buttercream. And I continue flipping it just to see how is it when I'm transferring it on the cake, and continue adding it until I quite like it. And now with the pine cone, remember that we want to transfer the color with the color that's going to show first. So I'm using a darker just for the edge of the pine cone, and then also medium brown and also light brown. And I'm quite happy with it, so I'm continuing with the other poinsettia design. I put my center first so that make sure it's going to show. And when I put my darker design, just like the edge of it, I'm making sure that my piping, when I cut the piping bag, it's gonna be very, very small, so just like very small buttercream coming out, so have like more control, a very fine detail for the poinsettia. And then once I'm happy with it, you could always use your printed poinsettia to guide you what color, because sometimes it's hard to see on the iPad as you're tracing it. So you can see your iPad or your printed design of what coloring that you want, the lighter, like where you want to place it and such. So I continue flipping it and then color. So use my printed design to guide me where I put the lighter color and also the darker color for the flowers, and making sure there is no hole. So I fill all the buttercream, and then I always continue checking it up by flipping it to see how does it look, my flowers, when I ended up transferring it on the cake. And I put it back on the iPad to trace the berries and also the rest of the flowers. Here is the winter leaves, and also I think it looks like the eucalyptus look. And I love the winter color, kind of like a sage teal color. So with the darker one first, and then I put a lighter teal, green bluish sage color for that. And same thing on the other side, I'm also doing the same thing. And once I'm done with it, and I'm quite happy with it, then I'm going to transfer it on the cake. Okay, so make sure your cake is cold, and when you're transferring it, you can cut your design, your parchment paper, so that you can kind of, the rest of the parchment paper won't flap around, so you know where exactly that you kind of want to put it. And then just place it gently on the cake and then press it gently, because you really don't want, you want to make sure all the buttercream get transferred, but also you don't really want to smush it too much. When there is a finer detail, it becomes like a blob kind of thing. And you want to place it in the fridge to really make sure it's cooled down all the way. You can check a little bit when you peel it that the buttercream really get transferred, but leave it in the fridge for maybe like 15 minutes or so, or even half an hour. If you want to cool it faster, put it in the freezer. But when you peel it, you want to peel it gently just to make sure that it's really get transferred on the cake. And you see it really is, it's getting so exciting that you reveal your buttercream painting finally when you're peeling your parchment paper. And slowly you're peeling all the way, and some of the buttercream will kind of fail to get transferred, and that's okay. I think that's the beauty of the imperfection in the painting. I think it's just lovely that way, that it shows how hand painted it is, the beauty and imperfection, I will call it. And I love it. I love that already. Don't you like it? I don't know, it's just nice winter lifting up mood so much. And the Christmas holiday spirit also. So then if you don't want to fix it, you can, because the cake is cold, so you can scrape it off if there is any design that you don't like. You can continually perfecting it if you like. And then once you do that, I'm going to continue to transfer the other design. I think it's going to add it a really nice one. So now I'm adding the other design that we already did, the buttercream painted, and transferring the parchment paper, and I'm making sure that, so I pressed it gently, but also to make sure that all the buttercream is in contact with the cake, because when we peel it, we want to make sure that your buttercream that you're painted on your parchment is, all of them are transferred on the cake. That's why when you press it, you just want to, because it's all different thickness when I do it, so I kind of press it based on how thick it is, and then making sure that it is in fact in contact with the cake. And once the cake is really cool, so once you transfer it, right, remember that we want to put it in the fridge and make sure the design is cooled before we peel the parchment paper. And when we peel off this parchment paper, remember this is cold already. If you peel it slightly and then it's not transferring on the cake, that means this needs to be cooled off more in the fridge or in the freezer. Now you can see some of the design already as we're peeling it gently. So just do it gently. And as I'm doing it, some of the leaves, it's kind of like a coming off leaf. It's something that happens that it's not getting transferred. So I'm just like helping it gently with my palette knife. And even though not all of them get transferred, I'm okay with that. And sometimes I just sort of use that whatever doesn't get transferred, and I'm trying to like adding it on the painting also. So that's what I do. Continue peeling the rest of the design, and you can use your palette knife to help you just to make it. I think I was being impatient that it was not cool completely, but I just want to peel it off. But make sure that it's all cooled off. And once it's peeled, and then sometimes you can see too, there is like imperfection, like it's kind of a hole, because when you pipe it on the parchment paper, you miss some spot. So you can sort of trying to cover it up by smoothing it out with palette knife or something, and you can do that. And once you're happy with it and you can gonna see all this design, it's just so amazing. It's so satisfying when all design, like when you peel it off and then you refill the design and it all comes together. And it's just very, very beginner friendly and easy, as long as you have the image and the image that you want to transfer on the cake, and you pretty much trace it, right? It's paint by color essentially. So it's super easy, beginner friendly, and I hope you enjoy it in trying it. If you like this video, please use the like button and subscribe. Thank you very much, and happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and gonna be New Year very, very soon.